Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of SIFTD HQ here on SIFTD Games at SIFTD.net. This show is anything but a podcast. If you're looking for long, drawn-out discussions about games, this is definitely not the show for you. Instead, it's a variety show, and you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, if you want fun little snippets of a lot of interesting topics or interesting themes, this is the place for you.
Yep, let's check it out.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Noobs, where we look at the games that got announced this week that have us excited to play. Exploring an island alone can come off as uninspiring, but with Hazel Sky, we're looking forward to it. You're an engineer building a plane to leave an island, but the more you build, the more you uncover your true destiny. Look forward to this emotional game in 2020 for all major platforms. Puzzle games like Portal and The Witness have ways of capturing its audience through its creativity, and when we saw Manquette, we thought it might just have similar potential. A game involving a small display that you have to manipulate to solve puzzles. The only thing is you soon discover that you are in the small display. Unfortunately, this obstacle is set to be released in 2021 for PC. With Supermassive's extreme success with Until Dawn, they have made themselves the horror staple in the choose-your-own-adventure genre. Now they announce their second game in the Dark Pictures anthology titled Little Hope. With characters dying left and right to getting scared every time we move our camera, we can't wait to jump to this game in 2020 for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Back in 2001, Cartoon Network delivered Samurai Jack to the world. Winning multiple awards and acquiring a cult following, fans of the show always want to see more Jack. Now, with Battle Through Time, fans get what they want with this hack-and-slash adventure game. With the lead writer of the show on board, we are curious to see where Jack will go when it's released in 2020 for all platforms. Platinum Games has been rolling in many announcements over the last month, but this one is the most vague. With Project GG, all we know is you fight a giant monster as you grow big like Ultraman. We relish the movie Pacific Rim, and if this has any pull on the game, we're ready to rumble. You'll have to keep your eyes on SIFTD.net to learn more.
Hi, I'm Shane Satterfield for SIFTD News, and here are the 6 biggest news stories in gaming for the week ending March 3rd, 2020. More PlayStation 5 news has emerged this week as 2 patents reveal potential functionality for the new DualShock 5 controller. One of the patents is for technology that measures your sweat response and heart rate to change in-game conditions. The other is wireless charging. It remains to be seen if either technology will appear in the final product. Coronavirus fears continue to spread across the industry. Multiple esports events were canceled across the past week, but the biggest story is that the Game Developers Conference has been postponed to the summer. We wouldn't be surprised if that date is pushed back again as the world struggles to bring the COVID-19 virus under control. As of today, the ESA claims that E3 2020 will kick off as planned. If there's one remake that everyone is waiting for, it's undoubtedly Final Fantasy VII. The dream is about to become reality, as the game has gone gold and is on track to make its April 10, 2020 release date. But the big news is that a free demo was just released on the PlayStation Store. The demo includes a full mission from the final game that includes a boss fight. You'll also be able to try out the classic mode. The bad news is that your progress does not carry over into the final game. If you've been tracking Xbox Series X news, it has been another gigantic week. Final specs were announced for the company's next gaming console that came in right around where expected. The bigger story is a new feature called Smart Delivery, which allows games going back to the original Xbox to play on Xbox Series X. One of the first games to use this feature will be Cyberpunk 2077. If you buy the Xbox One version, you get upgraded for free to Xbox Series X. Good Old Games, or GOG as it's often called, has instituted a brand new return policy that should help its reputation with consumers. Effective immediately, if you buy a game on the key reseller service, you can return it within 30 days for any reason. Small indie studios are understandably concerned that the policy could be abused. With GOG's reputation in the toilet, it apparently believes the risk is worth it. If you're excited for a plethora of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X exclusive games at launch, you might want to take a breath. After Xbox announced there would be no first-party exclusives for Series X in its first couple years of existence, Square Enix shared this week that it does not intend to support either console with exclusive games until, quote, somewhere farther down the road, unquote. It looks like we're going to have to be happy with Generation 8 games for the first couple years of Generation 9. That's it for the 6 biggest news stories in gaming for the week ending March 3rd. We'll see you next week.
Hey everyone, Mitch here, and it's time for Turn It Up Tuesday, where we pick the games, albums, movies, and TV shows releasing this week that you should keep your eye on. Here are the games released this week that stood out to us. After multiple episodes of free DLC, The Division 2 is getting its first paid expansion with Warlords of New York. You must head back to the city from the first game to hunt down a rogue Division agent. Hopefully winter has finally passed. The user interface and crafting system have received some attention, and the level cap has been bumped up to 40. It's not cheap at $30, but you also get 3 months of seasonal events. It's available for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Next up is Grand Blue Fantasy Versus for PS4. We forgive you if you've never heard of Grand Blue Fantasy before. It's a gigantic mobile game in Asia, but that's not the important part. What matters is it's being developed by Art System Works, the same studio behind Dragon Ball Z Fighters and Blaze Blue. The fighting system should be tight, there's a single-player RPG mode, and who doesn't like anime girls? If Pokemon's more your thing, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is coming to the Switch. Originally released for Game Boy Advance way back in 2006, it's been revived for Nintendo's latest handheld. There's no Pokemon trainers in this outing, instead you play as a Pokemon searching for its identity. There's a demo available now if you want to check it out before you take the plunge on Friday. It's a solid week for album releases. Noel Gallagher is the former frontman of Oasis, but his solo career survived more on his reputation than its output. He's mixing things up a bit with his newest IP titled Blue Moon Rising, much more electronic than his prior work. The eponymous single has a catchy hook that could land it on radio. Worth a listen to see if he's recaptured the magic. Caroline Rose is one of the music industry's hottest up-and-coming performers, and her debut album Superstar releases this week. An eclectic mix of poppy, electronic, and retro organs, we won't be surprised if she's the next big thing on the festival circuit. If you're a fan of the label 4AD and bands like Cocteau Twins and Dead Can Dance, Leah has a new album called Flood Dream. Its fusion of electronic and chamber music makes it this week's most interesting pick, but it's certainly not for everyone. Moving on to entertainment, there are a couple films that might be worth taking a trip to the theater. If you have kids, Pixar's Onward has been getting rave reviews from adults as well. 2 kids attempt to use a magical staff to bring back their father for 24 hours, but the spell goes all wrong and all they bring back are his legs. With time running out, they must find a way to bring the rest of him back. It sounds silly on paper, but Pixar knows how to tug at the heartstrings. Try not to cry on Friday. Sports dramas aren't a common genre, but movie jocks should take note of The Way Back. A former high school basketball star who's battling alcoholism returns to coach his alma mater and his addiction gets in the way. This one has feel-good story written all over it. Ben Affleck makes his return to film after dealing with his own alcoholism over the last few years, so his performance should be stellar when it releases on Friday. Vampire dramas may have died when True Blood jumped the shark, but Castlevania on Netflix has been a pleasant surprise through its first 2 seasons. It returns for season 3 on Thursday, when all 10 episodes become available. Trevor, Alucard, and Sypha should drive a stake right through the heart of your free time.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Closet Raiders, where I literally raid my closet to find cool stuff that I've either purchased, found, or was given throughout my 20 plus years in the gaming industry. This week we have something from Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games generally sends out the best swag. Now, it doesn't really put out games anymore, so it's been quite a while since it sent anything out. But back in the day when Rockstar was putting out games pretty regularly, they would send the coolest stuff to EICs and senior editors. I was fortunate enough to be one of those people, so I got some really cool Rockstar stuff back in the day. Probably the coolest, I would say, is like a Garriott, I think it's called. It's just basically a piece of wire with 2 rings that you put your fingers through, and then you put it around someone's neck and choke them. That was for Manhunt, and I believe Rockstar got some backlash for that one, so it kind of toned things down after that. I have been unable to find it, by the way. I've been trying to dig it up. It's in this little like bag, and
and it's like rolled up, and I've not been able to find it. However, I found something that I believe is even more cool from Rockstar Games that I've got through the years, and here it is. As you can see, this is from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So I've had this for quite a while. In fact, on this show, we're gonna see some other cool stuff from Rockstar here in the coming weeks. But anyway, we're gonna start with this. It has a little sliding door on it, but what could be inside? Let's find out. All right, so here we go. It's got this little sliding door. What could it be inside? It's Dominoes. Not just any Dominoes, San Andreas Dominoes. Check that out. Now, I will admit, I do not really know how to play dominoes. However, I have often fantasized about slamming a domino down and watching them all fly up into the air. But these go beyond dominoes. So, look at these. These are made out of like stone. And then on the back, they have these sort of metal pegs that come out. You can see them there. And every single piece has these. I am not 1,000% certain why they have them, but I will say this, it keeps them from kind of sticking together. So when you go to pull them out, it's very easy to get them all out of there. And then of course, when you play, the flat side would be sitting on the table so that you can see the numerals. Yeah, and so through the years I've collected a lot of swag, and generally the only stuff that I keep, the rest of it I give away to relatives, to friends, to gamers or whatever. The only stuff I keep is generally the stuff that's functional in some way. So while I'm not a big dominoes player, I now have a dominoes set. Not just a dominoes set, quite possibly the coolest dominoes set ever made. So someday, hopefully when I own a home, this will be something that goes down into my game room, and when my boys come over, we can play some dominoes with this awesome set.
Hey everyone, Mitch here, and I'm playing Neo 2, the last chance demo that came out. Neo 2 is a PlayStation 4 exclusive coming out on March 13th. And so I played this demo section for about 6 hours or so. I have played the first Neo. I did not finish it. I'll admit it right away. It's really hard. So I didn't have enough time to really commit to it like I want to be able to finish that game. But I have finished a game like Bloodborne, so I have experience with these types of games. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really enjoying Neo 2. So I'm going to show you a section with a bunch of different types of enemies, show you the different type of movesets you can do. Some things are similar from the last game, but some things are completely brand new, which offers a lot of different incentives to go in to play this game. So we're going to start it right away. So there's actually an enemy, and you can like see him right there, corner. He's going to jump out at me. And so I've tried so many different ways to avoid him, and the only way is to just run. Just run and let him do that. You'll tell with me that I am definitely a person that likes to not block. I tend to dodge. So you'll see this little red circle right there. That means I broke his guard, and that means I can do an impact move. So for that, it could kill it. Sometimes it doesn't, though. Sometimes it just takes away a little bit of health, and I just got hit with a rock. That was ridiculous. So you can do that. So that guy, he's been just taken out altogether. You can see my axe. It's a little bit of a special kind of an axe. You can see the purple on it. So when you look at my weapon bar on the right hand side where my axe is, there's a little gauge. It looks like it's filling up a meter. So once I do enough damage with this axe and it gets full, this whole axe is going to turn purple, and it'll do extra damage to whatever enemy I strike with. So it's a really nice feature that it has, and so I've just been using it. It's also the most powerful weapon I have, so I tend to always pick the most powerful weapons. Same thing with my armor. I always like to go with the most powerful. That guy is a little tricky sometimes if he gets really close to you, and he was lucky enough charging up for an attack, so I could really avoid it. So this thing's the trickiest of them all. This one I always have trouble with. So she is a Medusa type enemy, so she will try to freeze you in your space with a gaze. She also shoots out objects, but then the trickiest part about her is her melee attacks are really aggressive and they're really quick, like that. So if I don't block, which I was not blocking when I first was facing her, oh, see, now she froze me and now she got me. See, it's very tricky with her. So for her, it's all her speed is the biggest thing, and I couldn't avoid it. So the biggest thing I had to always try to do was I was always having to understand that I have to block. You'll see that I just got an ability point for the axe. So as you use a weapon more and more, a weapon type, so if you use a sword, your samurai sword more, if you're using an axe more, if you're using a staff more, you get, can I get her? Nope, shoot. Basically, the more you use it, the more you're going to be able to add these skill points to the skill tree of that specific weapon. So I have tons of skill points towards my axe. So whenever I use any type of axe, not just this axe, but any axe that is considered in the weapon type, I get extra bonuses, including damage. I can have special abilities. There's a lot of different things. There's a Medusa gaze that's going to pause me if I didn't get out of the way, and I got her. Perfect. So I get a little bit of her hair, and I get an elixir. Cool. Here is an enemy on the edge, so I'm going to take him out with a long-distance weapon, except I need to get a little bit closer, because you'll see it was yellow, and yellow means I'm not going to do as much impact. My headdress is blocking it. But when it's red, it means I'm going to do the most damage I can do. Doesn't mean it's going to die, but it does mean I'm going to do the most damage I can. So here's the shot, and it did get him. Oh crap, I just went. Oh, the hardest opponent. I just let him know where I am. That's really nice. So I'm going to use some specials here. So you'll see on my left-hand corner that there is a bunch of pentagons, and there's these little symbols on them. These are summons. So the creatures that I defeated, including this big guy, they offer me a summon ability where I can summon them and have me help them in the battlefield for an attack. So I'm going to show off one of them. So this is the little munchkin dude that I beat earlier. He's kind of attached to the big guy and doing his damage there. That one is really helpful for a lot of different moves. And here's what I'd open. So I'm going to take some strikes. Yep. And I'm going to do some strikes again. Got him in the head. That was nice. And I'm going to summon the little dude again. Make him bite down a bit. You know. And then maybe I can break his guard. Yes, I broke his guard, so watch this. Stab with the knife, and that was a good finisher. So I'll show you the other summon too when I get to the next opponent. Not these two little creatures up here. There's another one that's a little more tricky. So I'm just gonna, take these guys out the old-fashioned way. They like to use rocks, little cheapos, and I got hit. So I'm gonna use some elixir really quick. Slash this guy up, and here's the finisher. And as you can see, the finisher moves, they're different. They're not always going to be the same for the same monster type, and it also depends what position the monster's in. If it's laying on the ground, you're just going to stab it. But if you're on the same height as them, if you can kind of like be able to stand up. So I've seen moves where I've been able to do like a flip and a kick and then another stab. It's really entertaining to watch, and it's really satisfying in every way possible. So that's why I'm like, yes, I'm always down for that. All right, so we're gonna do this last one. She's not the hardest. The big monkey dude with a staff was the hardest opponent, but she is tricky because she has that little protection barrier that hurts you at the same time, and she is very picky when she does it. And then her hair moves and it strikes like a ninja, and then she's crouching. That meant she was going to use the ability if I was around her and I was trying to stab her. Oh, now you see the axe. So you see the axe grew purple. Now it's stronger. So here, I'm going to use the other summon really quick. Oh, and she's down. Stab move. And it didn't take her out. She's not dead yet. But I do have some opportunity to slash some more with the purple axe to do some extra damage. Oh, whoa. She's open. And it's over. Nice.
All right, that's it for episode 2 of Sifted HQ. I liked your playview, man. It came out good.
Yeah, I really liked the playview.
It's hard to do stuff like that and get it into small chunks.
You know how many
I mean, most Let's Plays are like 3 hours long. So
you know how many times I tried that thing? That thing took me like an hour.
so you had to audition it and rehearse it multiple times.
I had so many things.
The kid's learning. He's starting to figure it out. You got to do it multiple times and then you nail it.
Yeah, but I really like that game. So I want the code. Give me the code and I will play the game.
Look for more stuff like that in Sifted HQ in the future. I also wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing maybe little mini game evals sneaking into Sifted HQ. If you can't tell, we're kind of recreating X-Play here.
Which we both like X-Play.
Oh, well, yeah, I worked on it.
I grew up on X-Play.
Yeah. I think people haven't seen a show like this for a long time. Because X-Play hasn't been around for a long time, and everything's a podcast now.
Yep.
So I think it's been jarring for some people. Go back and watch some episodes of X-Play on YouTube, and I think you'll kind of see what we're going for. It's not going to be an exact replica, but you never know what you're getting on X-Play, and you never know what you're going to get on Sifted HQ. So we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.